above minimum wage, you can afford a house, and you could look after 2 children, and you could be happy. Okay? Absolutely happy. Now, if you fast forward to this day and age, that house now is just sold quite recently, and it was on for about 650 grand. Now, even if you were in the top 10% earners, even if both parents, so if you had children, if you got to say we're going to do the same, you've got 2 children, but if 2 adults in that house, right, were on in the top 10% salaries. To be in the top 10% salaries, you have to be earn anything above 55 grand a year. They would still struggle to afford that house with a salary coming in of over 100 grand. Now, when you speak to the older generations, you are always met with this attitude, right, that they had it worse off. They had it worse off. And then when you start talking to them about inflationary economics and the fact that, well, house prices nowadays are 8 times the average salary, that the average person doesn't leave their parents' home until they are the age of 32. I think it went up to 35 and it's come down to 32, but I'm surprised it won't go back up to 35 or even beyond. And that's having an effect on people having children, because if they're not moving out of the parents' home, so they're not having kids. In fact, if you want to go down the social aspect, people are not even getting married anymore. And that, I'm going to try and, in fact, I'm not going to go down that tangent because I want to try and stay out of that era. I'm going to try and stay out of that conversation because that's a whole video in itself. That's a whole video in itself. And I want to do a bit more research before I go down that avenue. But yes, if you speak to the older generations, they will tell you, they will say, oh, it's nothing to do with affordability. Their sentiment is they feel like it's because of young people nowadays are spending too much money on shit. So if I speak to the older, people in my family who are from the older generations, they'll tell you the reason why young people can't afford a house at the moment is because they're spending too much money in Costa Coffee. You know, they'll come out with a multitude of reasons why young people can't afford a house, anything other than the fact that inflation. And it's a bit of a fallacy. It really feels like a bit of a fallacy that young people are seen as pissing the money up the wall, and older generations see themselves as having it worse off because the access to luxuries is a lot more now than it used to be.